come from the lovely country of Israel. You come from Tel Aviv. And you're into skiing. How much of that do you do in Israel?
First of all, Israel is a warm country, and we have a nice beach, nice place to go. But my favorite sport is skiing.
Okay.
And I love, especially to come to Europe. It's best resorts everywhere.
Does this include Slovenia?
My fourth time in Slovenia,
Okay.
first time in Lasko.
And other places for skiing that you recommend?
I spend doing skiing in Europe, so France, Italy, Austria,
Wow.
the Alps,
So
everywhere.
you know this strip of land across the middle of Europe well.
Yes, yeah.
Excellent stuff. I think we go straight on to the project. You're going to tell us some important information that we've all got to listen to with care.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So welcome everyone for this lovely event. I'm going to talk about insider threat, what it means, what it does. And first of all, in general, you can see here in the slide, talks about what is insider threat. We are looking on, first of all, monitoring who? Everyone that works in the company. It can be employee, insider user, a remote vendor, anyone that has access to any assets in your business needs to be monitored. If you look on equivalent to your country, it's like kind of homeland security for the business. About 10 years ago, 20 years ago, no one were thinking about monitoring employees, but today everyone has the need to monitor, but not only monitor, audit, and also manage the risk in the company. So if a user does something risky, you want to be able to manage the risk in real time, which means I want to know about it, and I want to mitigate the risk and get a real-time alert, and also be able to block and prevent the user if the user is doing something risky. This is the most growing space in the security because that's pretty much new. Companies in the past did not think about using that kind of solution, and currently many customers are looking for that. Okay, next slide. Okay. Is it? Okay. Okay. Oh, maybe I need to point to that way. Okay. So this is, by the way, a deal that we closed 2 weeks ago with a pizza company in the US. Now, the big question is, I know that most of you are from the financial business, telecom business, healthcare, concerned about regulations and stuff. But even pizza company that they have a lot of customers, they know everything about your flavors. They know where you live, how many pizzas you order per day, what's your family member like, and that information is highly valuable. If it's a big company, you can see how many, they monitor 1,200 desktops, 800 servers, so that's a big pizza company. And I can, if I work there, I can simply download all the contact information and sell it to my good friends that want to open a shop in this neighborhood. That information is very valuable, and every company wants to protect their IP, and they protect that. The use cases are enormous, and you can see, first of all, the list of use cases like insider threat, privileged users, data protection, DLP, file activity monitoring, and of course, the main important thing is that the solution will be very light to use, very easy to use. So in 2 clicks, everyone, even the CEO, can click and see what's going on in the company and see the risk dashboard. But of course, the solution needs to address many things like GDPR, who are we going to monitor, which users, what we're going to do with the data, where the data is being stored, and stuff like that. And also, companies feel embarrassed for monitoring their employees, and we need to pass that barrier and start thinking differently, and start, of course, acknowledging that there is a risk, and we need to attack it. Now, of course, there is a statement, who believe that there is no insider threat in the company? Of course, no one. Everyone knows that there is someone in the company that can pose a threat, and you can see some examples. We know Snowden, and we know other people that did some bad activity and stole data. You can see also the example of the last woman that she was highly appreciated officer in the bank, and she worked almost 24/7. She was, but eventually she collapsed the bank because she stole all the money. Why? Why? Because one day she flipped. Why she flipped? Because she decided to help her brother because he was a gambler. Everyone can flip. Why I can flip? Because I'm not happy with the salary increase. I'm not happy with my job position, or many different crazy things, but everyone can one day not be happy in the company and flip his ID and start doing something bad like those guys because of different reasons. And now the big thing is who are your customers and other concerns about how you protect your IP. Because you have many customers and they are also concerned. Are your employees being monitored? Do you know where is my data is being stored and protected? And that's the concern about the customers. Like I just heard about 2 days ago about GearBest. If you know GearBest, it's a very popular Chinese like a retail shop that their credit card was compromised and they were stolen. So customers are concerned, where is my IP data is being stored and is it safe? Also, you can see some statistics telling that 90% of the IT people, if they would know that they are going to be fired or laid off, or they think that they may be some kind of layoff in the company, they may consider to take data out just for protection of their job. Also, other employees that may have access to data, if they feel that their job is in risk, they would think about maybe use that ability to take data out and store it somewhere for the safe side. Now, a customer, of course, tried to address that in the past in different ways. What are the ways? Indirect ways, which means we are not going to monitor the employees, but we are going to do things around it, like using SIEM or DLP or user activity behavior, like a monitoring, but very shallow, very basic. And ObserveIT comes and says, you know what, we have it all. We have user activity monitoring, we have different DLP, not the legacy DLP, but we have DLP that covers full file activity monitoring, and also user behavior analytics. So we take all the information about what employees are doing. We have full database of very granular information about every action employee is doing. By the way, you do not have to deploy ObserveIT if you want like a solution for all employees. You can deploy the solution or any solution on a specific group of employees, maybe only financial users, maybe only IT, or maybe only remote vendors. It's up to you. But eventually, you collect a lot of information in this enormous database of every action that user is doing, and then on top of that, you can do a lot of analysis, a lot of alert rules, and you see the analytics of that user. You can see that a lot of companies now, that's new positions that I have collected in the past 2-3 weeks, and those are positions from, you can see PayPal, Facebook, and other companies that are looking for insider threat manager. By the way, this position was done before by IT manager. I would say to the IT manager, you know what, that's your job. You're going to monitor what employees are doing, and if someone is doing something risky, that's your problem. You know, if someone downloads a file from the internet, you have to check it out. If someone does something strange, you have to, that's you're the IT security manager, check it out. But now there is kind of the homeland security position, insider threat manager, every company is looking for that. Of course, this market is driven mainly by the American market, and that's populated all over to Europe and other places. And today, every company needs this higher authority that will be the insider threat manager that covers everything. What are the common insider threat indicators? Different things that you can see on employee. Employee starts working more hours that he needs because he's trying to hide his activity, or maybe he's working on like less hours because he's very upset, or maybe he's violating the company policies. There are many, many users about a risky activity that you can see some kind of indicators. And you want those indicators to be floated out very quickly, because if you know in many examples that if someone starts to do a fraud, it takes about many months to figure out that there is a fraud. And for that, you need a tool that will indicate that there is a potential fraud very quickly. And of course, with our solution, you can do it very quickly. You can see what users are doing. We have also a lot of built-in alerts that can help you to figure out who's doing what. In ObserveIT, we also provide insider threat program education. We take you hand by hand and show you how to do it in the right way, which means, first of all, of course, you need to assign ITP officer, not one person, okay, that will be leading that project or program. Secondly, you have to discuss between yourself as a company what you want to monitor. Of course, every company needs to monitor different assets, so you have to map the users, what users you have, locally, international users, what their positions, where the IP is located, which users have access to that IP information, where are my servers located, Windows servers, Linux servers, which users have access to those machines, to those things. Also, which applications do I have in my business? Do I want to monitor all applications, or maybe part of the applications, only the risky applications? So that mapping needs to be done by you before, of course, applying any solution. You have to understand, first of all, where is the risk resides. And then you decide, okay, let's take that solution, whatever you decide, and then apply it on top of my requirements, my needs. And then, of course, you can get to see all the information that you have. Very important also that the solution will be able to prevent you real-time alerts, so you can get real-time alerts about the user activity and real-time reports if needed. Other use cases, of course, is to be able to connect to your current Active Directory, so you don't have to create manual users. Everything needs to be synchronized with your information, internal information in the business. Skipping to the next slide. All right. Okay. Can you click and see? Okay. Okay. Maybe the battery is... Yeah, forward. Again, another one. Okay, great. Okay, thank you. So, first of all, once you have collected all that information about the users, what are you going to do with that? That's a lot of information about many activities, anything. The user opens PayPal, opens Notepad, opens Paint, and many applications that are being used are being logged and recorded by the solution. Of course, you can exclude some information, and by the way, you can also have full metadata and full video of everything, but you can decide also if you want to have only metadata without a video. That's also an option. Video is very important. You have a video of the activity of the user, and that information is very granular, it's very informative, but all the information that we are using in ObserveIT, all the alert rules and analytics and so on, is based on the metadata. The metadata contains the application names, the window titles, the URLs, the file that you copied and downloads and upload, and everything that you're doing, every keystrokes and so on. And on top of that, we provide also built-in alerts, because we know from best practices that about many risky common activity, like user opens store or opens Wireshark, or doing some risky commands, or going to risky phishing sites, or maybe going to browse to gambling sites or adult sites that you want to know about it, but so at least to know what that user is doing. So all that information is coming built in the solution. So if the user is doing some risky activity that is common to most companies, that's already built in the solution, and they can get real-time alert on that. Furthermore, with ObserveIT, you can also block and prevent the user. Like you can see the guy here, that represents for me the IT administrator that manages thousands or maybe hundreds of employees, not thousands. But eventually, that person opens the registry. Another one plugs in a USB. Another one downloads the file. So it's crazy to get all these kind of events or emails from many risky activity without the ability in real time to block. What happens if I'm a new employee, just joined the company, and for my previous company, I used to use about 5 applications that I love to use. So what I do the first day, I come to get my desktop, and I start downloading those 5 applications because I like them. I trust those applications. I want to use them. So I get now 5 MSIs downloaded, and I am about to run them. Now, the IT administrator got an alert from ObserveIT that a file was downloaded. Now, what he's going to do about it? You want in real time, immediately, to notify the user, please do not do that. Now, if that user is in another building, I'm going to call that user, please do not. It's taking a lot of time. You need ability in real time, immediately, in a matter of seconds, to be able to block the user and tell the user, please do not do that activity, and block, at least to be able to prevent the users from continuing. This slide talks about GDPR in general. Now, every company has concerns about privacy. What are we going to do with that data? Who is going to watch the data? Can we anonymize the data? Can we disable the key logging? Sometimes the key logging is too intrusive. Can we decide which applications to record or not to record? Also, I am as ObserveIT administrator. I can go and I can watch your session. I can see what you did in Facebook. Or maybe even without watching the video, but I can see that you went to Facebook or you're spending a lot of time in YouTube. But so I need also to be able to monitor the ObserveIT or the administrators of this ITP program. So it's very important to be able to monitor everyone, not only the users, but also the ObserveIT administrators, and get full visibility of everyone that touches that system for GDPR purposes. Solution must be deployed very quickly and very easily. That's one of the key factors of every solution. Now, of course, if you buy a solution and then you think about, okay, I need to buy a solution now, I need to spend about $2 per $1 for deployment, or maybe I need to spend hours or days or weeks to deploy. You have to get a solution that will be very quickly to deploy. With ObserveIT, it takes about 20 minutes to deploy the server side. You can see that here we have 2 sides. We have the server side that is deployed on-prem. We plan to have also cloud, but it depends on your privacy concerns. The default one is to have everything on-prem. Database, SQL Server, everything is deployed on your location, and then you deploy agent on every machine that you want to monitor. It can be on-prem, outside, doesn't matter, okay? The only thing that you need to open is the port to the application server, and then everything is being sent from the agent automatically to the application server and saved in the centralized database. The solution supports Windows, every window, Windows like server, desktops, terminal servers, and so on. Linux, Unix, and macOS. So it's pretty much wide to support all the desktops and applications and servers that you have in the business. And then immediately all the information is being sent. Very important note is that in case our agent is running not in kernel mode, so it's in user mode, no reboot is required after the installation, the agent can be pushed silently to the remote machines and start recording immediately. And the impact of the agent on the remote machine, that's a big concern. Okay, you have an agent on my box, how much CPU it will take? The impact is minimal, it's lightweight. The user is not feeling any discrepancy in his performance, no latency, nothing. Everything working smooth. The agent records in the background, very low CPU impact on the user activity. Also, the storage is very low. It's about 12 megabytes per hour per user. So it's very low impact in storage. And keep in mind, 12 megabytes is for everything. Metadata in video, and also the solution does not record when the user is not active. So when the user goes to a coffee break, lunch break, cigarette break, there is no recording. When the user does not touch the keyboard and mouse, the ObserveIT agent does not record the activity, so it's minimize the activity recording only when the user is active on the keyboard and mouse. And let's talk about some use cases. One of the use cases is to monitor only employees that are going to leave the company. So we have customers that they monitor all servers, but they purchase a few agents for desktops. They want to monitor a risky user. So if there is a risky user that does something risky, they get approval from legal. We can monitor that user secretly. They push the agent to that desktop for 1 week. They monitor the user activity. If all okay, that's fine. Then they can remove the agent and move the agent to another one. That's what we say floating license. So we can float the license from machine to machine. And also, if a user leaves the company, we have a lot of banks or financial companies. They have a policy when a user, any user, doesn't matter which user, leave the company, he must have an agent on his desktop for the last 2 weeks. That's company policy. And then he's being recorded after 2 weeks. Everything is, of course, saved in the database, but the agent can be removed and then be used on another deployment or another machine. Also, another use case is to use ObserveIT for new hires. Now, if I'm a new hire, I get to sit now just with HR, sign the document. Then I'm going to sit with my IT director, and he explains to me what to do and what not to do. No, okay. Then I leave, then I go to my manager, and I get instructions, what to do, how to do, and so after 1 day, I forget everything. Now, with ObserveIT, of course, when the user, for the first time, does something that violates the IT policy, he can get notifications, please do not do that immediately. And also, when the user goes and opens his first quote in CRM, there is no need to discuss about instructions and send emails. Automatically, you will get a message from ObserveIT. Those are the instructions how to fill up that quote, because you are a new employee, and that new employee, of course, is added for 2 weeks, let's say, in the Active Directory. After 2 weeks, you remove the user from that Active Directory group, and immediately all notification stops. So that's the way you can control and float the license or use it for different use cases. Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. And another use case is to control shared accounts. A lot of IT administrators, when they log into the servers, it can be Windows servers, Linux servers, they like to log in as administrator or with user root. It's kind of common practice. We have user root, everyone, it's easy. We log in with user root or administrator to that machine. Now, how you can identify who is the user behind the keyboard? There is no way, because everyone log in as administrator. I know that we have many companies that have different regulations, and they have a private admin user for every IT user, but many companies do not do that. So ObserveIT can identify that you logged in as administrator to that box, and you will be blocked at the beginning of the session with a nice window, like you can see here below, telling you, please provide the password, or your personal password or user ID from the Active Directory. You type your password, you log in, and then that information is tied to the session information. And all the activity that you do around that administrator user, like if you do risk activity, alerts, and so on, are registered on your name, not as administrator. Okay? So ObserveIT gives you the full story, no doubts, not only forensics, which is very important. And I will show you in 3 slides what we do. First of all, I'm talking about the high level, of course, not details, no time for the all details. But first of all, we provide metadata for every session. So you can see here that we have here a lot of lines. Every line represents a session. What is a session? When the user log in until the user log off to the machine, from the machine. That's a session. So we have many lines that represent sessions. And if you come in the morning to the office and you look in ObserveIT, you may see a lot of live sessions from different users that are happening right now. Every line represents one session. And next to the session, you can see on the left-hand side, you can see an arrow and also a bell that represents an alert. So the arrow, you can click on it and see the metadata. The bell represents that in that session, we have alerts. So some kind of risky activity. And if you click on that arrow, you can see also now the metadata. And every user, if you are IT administrator, or every user even that knows computing, like Windows in that case, can read that like a book. So there is no need to be an expert to see what user did in that session. I can see step by step what applications he opened. I can see the window title, the application name. I can see also the URLs that he went to, which files were downloaded, uploaded, renamed, and so on. All the activity is displayed in this view. For Linux, the same. If you deploy ObserveIT for Linux, you have full visibility of all the commands that users are doing in shell programs. Everything is being monitored. If you access the terminal of Windows Server, it can be remote, like with PuTTY, or local session. If you open your graphic Linux, and then you open a terminal, that session will be monitored and recorded like a separate session, and that will be displayed like that. Every command will be tracked and monitored under the Linux, including also SFTP files that are being transferred in and out from that machine, from that Linux. And also, very important, going back to Windows, for next to, you can see here that next to every line at the right-hand side, there is an icon of a video player. So this icon, by the way, can be disabled, which means I can disable the video. So if you're concerned about video, you can say, you know what, I want to know the metadata. But I do not want to see the video because the video will be looked like that. Okay, that's a video. Video gives me full visibility of the user activity. It's like I have a camera on his desktop and I'm recording his activity step by step. So that's a video. I can disable the video and have only the metadata, only the book. I can read the actions. But also, if I have an alert, I can tell ObserveIT, please, I have only metadata. But if the user opened the registry, I want to get a video from this moment for the next 2 minutes. So I can limit the video only based on alerts. So no video at all, but video based on alerts only. That's optional, but you can see how the video looks like. That's the player that plays the video. I can just sit and watch the video of the session step by step. ObserveIT also provides real-time alert rules, and that's how it looks like. It's all built in. You can see that the alert rules category. It's not very focused, but at least you can see the envision that every line represents an alert. And also, we provide here the risk score analysis, which means that every user that generate or create alerts risky activity gets bet points. And we accumulate all the bet points in the next, let's say, past 1 month. And then we show you the risk score of every employee. So that's, you can see at the top, we have a user, 100% risk, that's the maximum. And next to it, you can see the alerts, and then you can drill down and see what that user, what alert he has. And also, very important, for every employee, by the way, not also risky, only risky users, you can see also the user behavior analytics, UBA, which is useful to understand what applications the user is working on, how many days per month he was busy, and what's the average working hours per day. And you can see also in the graph the patterns when he was working. And also you can see from that the productivity of the user, if what it does makes sense. Questions? We're just in time. Any? The agent cannot be disabled very easily. Of course, if you're admin, you can do many things, but the agent has many protections around it. It has, first of all, it's not one process. It has a watchdog. Also, it has a password. And if you manage to touch any process of the ObserveIT agent, or even touch the registry, even if you open the folder, only view the folder, if you find the folder, then immediately an alert will be generated in ObserveIT. And also, this agent can be installed in stealth mode, fully invisible from the user. So the processes are scrambled, and it's not seen in the program lists, not seen in the services. Everything is hidden. We can report, and we can prevent by blocking. We cannot, let's say if the user uploads a file or downloads a file or copy a file to USB, we do not do anything like actions. Like if a file will copy to the USB, we do not delete the file from USB. But we can block the user, tell the user, block the desktop, and tell the user, please do not do that activity, or please remove the file from the USB. So that's the action that we take by blocking the user desktop, but not to be very intrusive in that.